There are now 80 Cybertrucks here. Whoops, actually make it 85 in total. So many. The ramp is actually going fairly well so far. And for Zaz's New Year's resolution to be less bullish is going to completely fail. I do not think many of us really expected the Cybertruck to start ramping up so quickly after the first deliveries. At this moment, the Cybertruck is exceeding expectations. And of course, we also see Tesla working on the deliveries as well. This is a test for, are you an optimist or a pessimist? If you first see this rounded edge, then you are an optimist, because maybe this could actually be acceptable in Europe, which would expand Tesla's Cybertruck market. But if you first saw this panel gap, then you are certainly a pessimist. Or just someone that sees obvious things quickly and easily. I am personally very strongly convinced that the Cybertruck is going to be Tesla's highest gross margin vehicle. Until the Roadster comes out, that vehicle is probably going to have a gross margin that's going to be even higher. You know, I'm wondering if this guy did something on purpose to be officially the first Cybertruck owner to be handed a ticket. Now, don't get me wrong, I certainly expect some issues and hurdles with the ramp, but unlike what the mainstream media is trying to tell you, I think the ramp is going fairly well. Reuters says that their sources say Tesla's Giga Texas factory is currently churning out 4680 battery cells at rate only sufficient to power about 24,000 Cybertrucks a year, or about a tenth of the required output. Pay attention to their language here, only sufficient. Spoken like a prosecutor, some really weird language. Instead, maybe they should try using this kind of language. 24,000 per year is a run rate of 461 per week, and Tesla is at best, maybe at 40 per day at very, very best, which would be still roughly, very roughly half of that number, which is much higher than where Tesla is now anyway. So no issues for Q4 or even for Q1. The article does not consider that 4680 batteries have been ramping meaningfully along its S-curve, and that Tesla is rapidly expanding production of 4680. I just found this website where you can actually rent a Cybertruck. You have to be willing to fly to San Francisco and pay $10,000 a month, or $750 per day. We now know how much money Tesla paid for the land where it is going to build the factory, the Megapack factory in China. It is $31 million for the 48-acre plot of land. If you have not listened to the conversation between Cathie Wood and Elon Musk that just happened 2 days ago or so, I highly suggest that you do. There were some interesting moments in there. For example, one news item that we learned from there was Elon Musk saying that Tesla China has seen a substantial increase in regulatory burden in the last 10 years. He says it's harder to get things done than it used to be. Now, I am wondering if this has anything to do with the Megapack factory. That's probably one reason why it got slightly delayed, not by a lot, but just by a little bit. And things seem to be really good in 2019 and 2020, so maybe Elon means not just this year, but maybe the last 2 years, which could also possibly explain why the next generation vehicle is not here yet and why it's late. That's what James thinks, but I'm not so sure Elon is referring to the next generation vehicle. I think he's mostly talking about the Megapack factory. Based on plans announced earlier this year, construction was already supposed to have started, and production should have started in Q2 of next year. But now production is supposed to start in Q4 of next year, so a bit of a delay. And there's a rumor that the groundbreaking of the Shanghai Megapack factory will be in February. Wall Street's Q4 consensus delivery estimate is 481,000, which implies 2023 deliveries of 1.8 million roughly. And Barclays analyst Dan Levy actually just increases delivery estimate up from 480,000 to now 490,000 based on October and November registrations and in advance of the expiration of subsidies in the US, France, and Germany. But Troy says 490,000 is not happening in Q4 and there is no way it can happen. That's a very strong statement. The question is whether 480,000 is possible. Gary Black is at 476,000, which implies 1.8 million deliveries for 2023. We hear so much talk about how Tesla is losing market share and how in Europe Tesla is not doing all that great this quarter. But if you look at the actual data, you will see that Tesla's market share has been growing for the last few years. And the other brands, the other biggest brands, they are all shrinking except for BMW. So things are nowhere near as bad as many Tesla bears would want you to believe. Tesla is participating in this automobile exhibition like it did participate in many exhibitions this year in China, and this time we see the refresh Model 3 over there as well. That will probably help a little bit with sales.